He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
Hey, we are back, and I'm really pleased to have Sam from Saberi 6, who is like the probably online in Toronto. And so, sorry for all you folks in Calgary and Vancouver, but we're going to do some Toronto real estate stuff today. Although it's meaningful, the stuff Sam's going to talk about is actually meaningful everywhere. There's a condo building, okay? But the beauty of talking to Sam is I discovered Sam online. You can find him on Instagram, you can find him on TikTok, you can find him on YouTube. Sam from Saberi 6, and you're going to be struck by something that's severely different than a lot of other real estate videos. Okay, it's going to be, hey, this is a recent one. It's one of my favorites. Hey, I'm standing on the street here, and on this side of the street we got one building, and it's great. And this has been a good unit from day one. This has been well run, and give the list of the good things. And now let's over here. Same developer, shit building.
That's right, yeah.
So that's the honesty that we're all about in the Angry Mortgage podcast. That's it. It's about honesty. Okay. So the truth teller, Sam, Saberi 6, go online, find him. You will hear some true stuff about condos and real estate in Toronto. So you've been at it for a while, right? 2017?
Yeah, so I got my license in 2017, just before like the COVID rush, where everyone became a realtor. You know,
every single person.
Your uncle, and your personal trainer, right? So, and chances were your personal trainer was better than your uncle, but yeah, I got my license around then and slowly started making videos. When I had some downtime, obviously, when you start in this business,
you got some downtime.
You got some downtime, and I thought like I never saw content like because condos are different than houses, right? Like condos are much more akin to cars. Like there's a big culture of car reviewers, right? There wasn't that culture of like reviewing condos. Okay, which are the shit condos? Which are the good condos? Which are just the okay condos, right? So I thought, you know what, I never saw any videos like that, and people like to see it. And, slowly and steadily, I built up my database of experience and all that, and have, clients in different buildings. So thought it would be a good idea to make reviews of buildings, buildings to avoid, buildings with the most Airbnbs, best waterfront buildings, worst waterfront, all that jazz, right? So
yeah, and it is like stark truths. I mean, there's no beating around the bush. There's no misinformation. Like you've had lawyers' letters, right?
Many
lawyers' letters.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Many lawyers' letters. I've actually had death threats. Actually.
Oh well. Jesus! Come on, really?
Yeah. Wow. I've had death threats, but yeah, many lawyers' letters.
You've had death threats about saying this is a shit building. I mean, like wow.
I have.
Wow,
yeah,
that's incredible.
I have. Not every day, but one or two. But yeah, like I've had lawyers' letters, like I've made reviews of certain buildings. Like there's a famous building that my viewers will recognize. I call it the condo that shall not be named because I made a video review of it, and I literally went into vacation in Portugal. My phone was off for 2 days, and then I turn on my phone. Everyone from my brokerage is reaching out to me. Hey, we have this letter. The legal representation of the building is reaching out to me, right? Threatening, if you don't take down this video, we're going to, pursue legal action. So that was my first taste of that. But it's happened many times since.
So how do other realtors react to this? I mean, what do you get? What's the feedback you get?
Well, it's all over, to be honest with you. There's some that don't like it. They think like I'm just doing it for views or I'm crap. I've actually had a lot of weird conspiracy theories. And just like 2 weeks ago, a realtor was like, hey, you talk bad about this building so the property values can drop so you can buy units in it.
Oh my fucking God, that's crazy. That is fucking crazy. Okay.
As if I have a viewership of like 50 million that I could actually affect that change, but I can't. But no, there's a lot of like people all over the spectrum. There's a lot of, to give credit to a lot of my colleagues. They're like, I like what you're doing. They use me as a resource as well, right? There's a lot of people who use me as a resource. There's a lot of people who hate it. There's a lot of people who love it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
That there's people inside every industry who believe that the only proper approach to working in that industry is to praise the shit out of it. Every aspect of it all the time. It's always good. It's like, you said it to me earlier today. You said, like, if you don't go to a fucking barbershop and ask them if you need a haircut. I mean, like, you're always going to need a haircut. So
exactly.
At the end of the day, some realtors do believe that everything is always good. It's always a good time to buy. There's no bad time to buy. Every price is fine, and just do it.
Yeah.
And so we've all seen that. We've seen a lot of it. So let's get down to cases. You do very interesting, pretty deep analysis of buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, and so tell us how you start the approach to thinking about what's a good building or a bad building.
Yeah, so like my conceptual framework, which I've told clients and on my videos, I think of buildings in this sense. They can go right or wrong in 3 different levels. Whether it's the conception stage, the initial stage of how the building is conceived. Design. Like, is it even the right, what they're going for in that project? Is it the right fit for that community, that neighborhood? Mm-hmm. If it's close to the tracks, what's the, setback? How they've configured it in the designs? Where is the garbage bin pickup relative to the lobby or relative to the amenities, right? Mm-hmm. So the conception stage, something can go horrifically wrong. It can go right. The next stage a building can go right or wrong is the execution. So you now take that conception and you have to execute on it. You have to break ground. You have to actually build it, right? How much delays are there? What type of workmanship is used? What type of finish quality is used, right? How is it actually executed based on the design? Building can go really well at that stage or can go really poorly at that stage. And then the final stage a building can go right or wrong is management. So the building's already been conceived up, it's been built, now day to day, it's occupying. How is it managed? How much are the rules enforced or how much are they not? What is the demographics of it? Is it fostering a community feel or is it more so fostering a hotel feel, So I essentially think of it at those 3 levels. Buildings can go right or wrong in the conception stage, in the execution stage, and then finally the management stage.
And there is, at all those levels, mm-hmm. there are enormous variables. So you talk about it all the time. You run through the list of what goes wrong. By the way, I agree with everything you've said.
Yeah.
You can have great design, great location, great concept, do a terrific job on how you built it, just everything well thought out, good finishes, everything great. And a berserk management group property managers and a condo board will fuck you into the ground, okay? Yeah. Because they have a wrong idea of how people want to live.
It's not even the wrong idea, they just are incompetent.
Totally incompetent, yeah, absolutely, totally incompetent. Because just so for people who've always owned a home and never owned a condo, just for a quick explanation, once the condo corp is formed, and that's how it all works. You're buying units, right? You're buying pre-construction units, mm-hmm. and eventually the building is complete, and then all the condo corp is formed. The condo corp has to have a board of directors, mm-hmm. and they have to be people from the condo, right? Yeah. That's what it's all about. They're elected, and it's weird because some people don't want to have anything to do with anything. They won't even go to the meetings. They might not even vote, and then some people are kind of naturally political, and they're interested in being in a position of power in the building, and they may be completely incompetent fuckwits, and it works out poorly, or they may be serious people like accountants, ex-bankers, like people who understand how buildings should be managed, or at least how any kind of a thing should be managed in an orderly way. And if you get lucky, you get those people, but if you don't, you don't. So let's talk about something you touched on, which I think is really important because I get shit quite a bit for talking about dog crate condos that I just sort of emphasize the tiny size of the units. But you go really in depth about the whole aspect of the building.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it fair to say this? Is it fair to say that when you first started in the industry and you started looking at condo units, they would have been finished, if you were started in 17, worked through 18, worked through 19, most of those buildings would have been built 5 years to 10 years earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would probably have
they
to
probably
say.
wouldn't be brand new buildings. Okay.
There were some, but most.
But because you don't work in pre-sale, you work in resale.
No, I'm pretty much purely in resale.
Got it. And pretty much today, just a buyer's rep.
Yeah, I mean, I would say 95% of my volume, 90 to 95% of my volume the last 2 years has been purely buyers.
So you're representing people who you're showing units to and giving them the do's, the don'ts, the positives, the negatives.
Exactly.
And they work off your advice, and that's how it works. Okay, so when you first started looking at units, was it fair to say the units on average, because you're real estate, you got to show units, right?
Yeah.
So running back to 2017, 2018, 2019, they were units that were not young like today. Some of the units you're looking at today are probably from 2021, 2023, right? Yeah, they just got finished. So when you look at those older units, what was the main things that stood out to you as different from those older units?
Well, I don't think I'm breaking new ground here, but definitely much more functional.
Good.
Right? Okay. Functionality. It's not always about the size. Size is important sometimes, but it's also about...
I can introduce you to a whole bunch of women who will tell you size is reasonably important.
It's how the builder uses the size.
We're back to the same dirty analogy, but you keep on going. Keep on going.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So there is you can have 600 square feet where it's like this... I mean, dog crate would be actually a compliment to it. It's more so like perhaps a hallway, I rather
it's a bowling alley.
I personally, if I had no choice, rather live in a dog crate than a bowling alley. But you can have 600 square feet that's a garbage layout like that, or you can have 600 square feet that's, it's not going to blow you away. You're not going to have like a family of 3, but it's quite functional. You have enough window space, right? Everything is designated that you could fit a couch here, you could fit a TV here, you could fit a dining table here, right? So definitely what I've seen with newer buildings is there's some absurd layouts. So for example, I'll go into specifics here a bit more. It used to be the case where it would be kind of a yellow to red flag if one of the beds or the den, let's say, was these middle of the floor plan layout bedrooms. What do I mean by that? Other people I've referred to as like fishbowl bedrooms. Why fishbowl? Because literally the bed is supposed to go in the middle of the floor plan, right? So it's not a separate room. It's not an actual traditional room with walls and a window. It has these transparent sliding doors, right? So literally the bedroom is in the middle of the floor plan beside the kitchen, and everyone can peer into the quote unquote bedroom, and you can peer out, and it has these sliding doors, right? It has no windows. It doesn't have any walls.
So if you have people come over,
yeah,
you better make damn sure your sex toys are in the drawer. Okay? That's a very important point.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. But so I was about to say for some people that you make sure it's actually out there so they can see.
No, that's a whole different kind of a date. That's a different kind of a date. Okay.
But that used to be okay. That used to be a disqualifying factor for 90% of buyers, right? And
so they would look at this crazy layout of the fishbowl bedroom and say, "I don't want to live here,"
because there was so much actual functional alternatives, like 1+1s, where the +1 is an actual legitimate den for a study or office.
Sure.
Or the bedroom is actually a legitimate bedroom. Hey, the den might be this fishbowl thing, but the bedroom is actually a legit bedroom with floor to ceiling windows, high ceilings, proper door, proper walls, right?
Got it.
Now, builders are actually building, and you'll see in some buildings, 2 bedrooms where both bedrooms are that fishbowl.
Jesus.
And one bedroom doesn't have any direct access to sunlight or natural light, right? So that is something that I never saw. I'm seeing now. And of course, when I say I'm seeing now, people who come to me, work with me, I disqualify those listings unless they're keen on seeing it off the bat. But of course, I'm seeing what's coming and going, and for content purposes as well, obviously. But that's a new trend. Another new trend is even worse than that, if you can believe it or not. I never saw before, when I started, I never saw new units have walk-through bedrooms. Now, what is that? A walk-through bedroom.
You open the main entrance.
Yeah.
It's a bedroom, for Christ's sakes.
You literally, when I say walk-through bedroom, it's a bedroom, once again, using air quotes here, a bedroom where your guests would have to literally legitimately walk through your bedroom to get access to the kitchen, living area, or the balcony.
It's fuckery.
When you think about it, that's worse than a studio.
Yeah.
With at least a studio, you know what you're signing up for. You're not signing up for 1B on the, builder's, price list.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with a studio, where the bed is supposed to go is typically on the other end of the studio.
Yeah.
Right? Like where the windows are. Yep. Here, the builder has left you no choice but to put your bed right by the door. Right? So that's something I never saw before as well. So
I watched a video where you actually showed it. You said, let's open this door of this unit. You open it. It's a bed. They're getting a bed. Like, it's just so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Yeah. So I've also noticed sort of the requirement to stand up when you eat is a new thing. Could you describe that a little bit?
The requirement to stand up.
Yeah, because there's no way there's ever going to be a table anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't noticed that as much, but I see what you're saying where there's no actual functional space for a dining table.
Yeah.
Usually it will come, unfortunately, a lot of dilemma, a lot of buyers or renters of these units will have to face is, do you want a couch or a table? Right? You can't have both.
Which is basically fucked up.
Right? So, but yeah, I mean, that's also limited kitchen space. I'll say this, kitchen spaces are also much more becoming like a proper kitchen is becoming more scarce in the marketplace.
So is it fair to say that what we're looking at here is designs that are only meant to please the developer's economics? Is that fair? Of course.
Yeah. There's a lot of buildings. Like there's this garbage building that is on Wellesley Street East that unfortunately actually has a cool design on the outside. Buildings, Ron, are like people. They can be sexy on the outside, but awful on the inside.
So true.
Look yourself. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I can introduce you to hundreds and hundreds of people who feel that way. You're absolutely right. Okay.
But that building, you can clearly tell that the builders only had Airbnbs in mind when they built it. Like, it has these absurd floor plans where it's a 2-bedroom with 1 washroom, and the 1 washroom is in the primary bedroom.
What the fuck? Wow.
Like, what is that really, right? Like, in terms of functionality, first off, I think 2 bedrooms with 1 washroom immediately, even if the washroom is placed well, should be. I don't like those personally.
Right.
I don't even like 1 washroom for my 1+1s, to be honest with you. But when the washroom's inside the primary bedroom, you don't have actual the perspective of an end user in mind there. You have the perspective of someone who's going to rent out the rooms in mind, right?
It's about renting out the rooms. It's about the bedrooms. All right, so can we circle around this? Because this is really interesting. So is it fair to say that the rapid development of Airbnb, say from 2016 through to 2021, created some of this element? Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that's a fair thesis to have. I think that, of course, you have to also understand like the pre-construction sector is primarily investors, right? Sure. There are certainly end users who go into pre-con. And as one of my hot takes, you might disagree with this, but other people have. I think pre-cons are sometimes a little bit even more end user friendly because of the delayed deposit structure, as we discussed earlier. But certainly in the last 3-5 years, there was majority investors. And investors, when you're selling to investors, you don't have to care about these aspects of functionality and floor plan and layout, right? Investors don't care about that.
So they don't care about it because they just look at it as an economic formula.
Exactly. It's a primary investment vehicle for them, right? So
gotcha. So that's how and let's face it, people who are looking at a property to be used exclusively as an Airbnb, and by the way, this is like the city and province has effectively outlawed this, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so many regulations around it now. You can't effectively offer an Airbnb. Is that fair?
Not over the table, yeah.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people got to do it secretly, yeah. Okay.
A lot of people do it under the table, and that's actually one thing that sets apart good buildings and bad buildings. Good buildings bad buildings turn a blind eye to it, right? Good buildings actually foster that community aspect and actually enforce the no Airbnb rules, right? Some bad buildings don't.
Yeah. So then we end up. So let's just put the cards on the table about Airbnb. Like Airbnb has these downsides. They are an illegal hotel room effectively, and they are therefore become something that is about people attending events in the city, true tourists, like we're here for the Taylor Swift concerts. We're going to fill this place up. Or we are in the... You had a great phrase for it. You said they're in the cash business. Like they're people who want these units on a short-term basis because they do cash transactions, right?
I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So there's obviously many different industries where cash is the primary exchange of goods. So for those industries, whether you're selling a product or selling yourself, cash
rules.
Cash rules, and Airbnbs are more friendly to that. Yeah.
So that's the ultimate issue that we've also reached, and it's really very meaningful because you use a great phrase around it. That you can be a building that fosters a community, a group of people who want to live in the building on a long-term basis, want to have a sense that the building is safe. The building it's full of other similar people. I remember you used the phrase once that this building is mainly occupied by people who own the units, or is rented out to people who are professionals, to people who are not. They're not a short-term renter.
It's not like a student dorm housing situation. If it's tenants in there, they're once again families or working professionals. Yeah.
So this is, by the way, this is really meaningful. So this is something that let's face it, the city has to assume some blame here too. Okay, so it's like the city came late to the Airbnb thing. Like it should have been obvious to everybody that this was not going to be a good thing to have illegal hotel rooms running around. It was going to, and a building that has no sense of community because it's all short-term rental. There's all this unusual people in the elevators, and it's just a no level of comfort to the long-term tenants. And builders didn't seem to give a shit about that at some point. Like, obviously, some buildings are built with owner occupants in mind. If you have a ton of 2 bedrooms, if you have a ton of 750 to 800 square foot units, then sure, that's got a different idea in mind. But the one thing about the tiny dog crate condo is they attracted too much short-term, too much Airbnb, and then builders didn't, and then too many investors. Yeah, builders didn't give a fuck about the design of the units. And there's other things too that I'm glad you point out all the time. Talk about the craziness of not enough elevators. Talk about that for a minute.
I mean, when you think about it, when you live in the building, your interaction with the amenities, your interaction with the rooftop patio, with your neighbors is going to be way less than your interaction with the elevator. Every day you come and go, you're going to use the elevator, right? So like under elevated buildings or adequately elevated buildings that have 2 to 3 out or maybe 1 out every given month are completely going to like on worst case scenario destroy your end user experience. But greatly impact your end user experience. Imagine you have to, take a crap and you have to wait 5 minutes for the elevator, right? And you're holding 2 grocery bags, right?
Oh my God.
So it's a key part of the end user experience. And one thing that's really common amongst like the worst buildings or even mediocre buildings that have other redeeming qualities is poor elevator wait times, right? Now, at the end of the day, it is a condo. You occasionally in any building, even like the most premium luxury building, you're going to have elevator maintenance. But it's just like, how often is that the case, right? I've seen situations where I go into a building, this is back when I was a bit newer in the industry and didn't know the buildings as quite as well as I do now. There was a line around the block passing, like when I say around the block, like when I say there was a line so long that was passing the concierge desk from the elevator, right?
Whoa. So sorry. This is a lineup to get on the elevator at certain times of the day?
There was 4 elevators, 3 were out.
3 were out.
Of the 4.
Yeah.
It's 45 stories. And there was a line from the elevator, the corridor, going past where the concierge is. And it was a pretty, I would say, average sized lobby.
My God.
So that can destroy your experience.
It would destroy my experience. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, that's hideous. So these are, and then there's the buildings that are just poorly maintained. I mean, I remember one of your videos, you had a great video about a building that was consistently, when you walked into to do a showing, consistently there was dog shit on in the lobby.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I got to a point where I thought maybe this is by design. I'm not sure. Maybe this is part of the
dog friendly. Yeah, dog friendly.
But no, I mean, this building is in Liberty Village. People would know if they've watched my videos. But like out of 10 times I've been there, I would say 7 out of 10 times there has been pet waste. Maybe not dog crap every time, but like you can see wet spots here and there, right? And
that's so fucking crazy.
But that's not. Listen, to be fair though, that's not always the fault of the management as well. Residents sometimes, like some certain buildings in certain neighborhoods, attract certain types of people, right?
Okay.
So everyone, there's a blame pie to be had, and everyone has a slice, right?
So you also talk about good buildings. So could you just sort of give us your summary of what makes a good building?
Sure. That's a really good question. I'm happy you asked that. So a good building is a building that is managed well. So the management is on top of things, right? They're not too micromanaging where you feel like you're living in a prison, but they care just enough to make sure everything is functional, operates well. The condo board is proactive. These are more so on the legal and financial side of things, right? Because you have to understand, condos are also corporations.
They're companies, yeah.
They have cash flows, they have expenses, they have revenues and operating budgets, right? So condo can be good or bad in that aspect as well. But in terms of the more end user experience, in terms of day to day in the building, it truly does have that. It does kind of create that community experience. So the elevators are rarely ever out. You don't have, fire alarm testing at like 4 a.m. or fire alarms going off, right? People know each other, right? People know each other. You truly feel there's a residential feeling that flows through it. It's clean. People are cleaning all the time, right? The floor plans are functional. Obviously, every building is going to have from smaller ranges to larger ranges, but the smaller floor plans are, once again, functional. Then you have the 2,000 square feet floor plans. The demographics of the building are high end. There's more owners than tenants. Not to say there's no tenants, but there's more owners, right? It's stuff like, one reason I like some of the best buildings in the city, I think, are like Tridell's like A+ tier buildings. Is because something as simple as and you might laugh at this, people do, but when they actually view it in person, they be like, okay, that actually does make a difference, which is their doors are actually heavy. Like they don't feel like cardboard doors. They feel like proper, like there's a heft to them when you open the door to the unit, right? So it could be something as simple as that.
And the door handle isn't ready to fall off.
Exactly, right? And it's just a streamlined experience. But those, unfortunately, are becoming a little bit more rare nowadays. And there's obviously a spectrum, right? There's just okay buildings, but yeah.
Well, that's a great point. So let's dive into a very important thing you talked about, which is the condo board maintenance, monthly maintenance fees, how the finances of the building are run. Yeah. And you've noticed some real questionable issues and also a pattern. So talk about the pattern of why a new building has low monthly maintenance fees and then eventually at some point 4 or 5 years later they require a substantial increase.
So just like as I said, condos are corporations and there's different ways we manage a corporation. Unfortunately, more cases than not nowadays with new buildings, the board attempts to keep the maintenances as low as possible in the first 1 to 3 years to make that maintenance fee more attractive to buyers. Right now, of course, no one's ever going to come out and say that, but that's just my thesis. And as a result, like when they would have to be spending $50, they just spend 10, right? They don't want to. They want to show in their audited financials. They always want to show a cash surplus, right? To make the corporation look as healthy as possible. And it's not always misleading, or it's not always some sort of
It's not a conspiracy.
Yeah. Sometimes generally expenses are lower in the first 1 to 3 years.
Yeah, sure. It's a new building.
Yeah, right. But they're more conservative with their dollar, right? And what you see is in the 4th and 5th year in that building, what happens all of a sudden is they were late on, addressing certain things, and now they have to kind of tell the people, okay, we're going to do all these capital expenditures
because we got no choice,
right? To address it, right? That's actually the better case scenario. Worst case scenario is like a special assessment, right? So at least in this case, they're addressing it through their cash on hand, right?
Okay, so for people who never lived in a condo, so the great fear in condo world is something called a special assessment. I mean, that's typically where the building is gone on for a few years. It's not a young building. It might be 10 years, 15 years, wherever. And by the way, with some of these very new buildings we see coming on stream that have really questionable finishes, questionable workmanship, we may see this issue happen earlier. So this is a major maintenance problem. It might be windows, it might be balconies, it might be elevators, it might be roofs. It could be a lot of different things. It could be a swimming pool that's going to all suddenly becomes a real problem. All these things cost a shit ton of money. And if you're in this province, Ontario, and this is true of most provinces across Canada, you have to have because you remember how this building fell down in Florida? Just one day, the building just pancaked, just fell apart. It turns out that building in Florida, in many buildings, you didn't have any requirement for an engineering study. You didn't have any requirement to have engineers in there and study the upkeep of the building.
What I remember, and I could be wrong, is actually in that case, there was an engineering firm telling the building, hey, we should do something.
That's correct, yes.
And they were like, let's keep expenses.
So in Canada, but in most provinces in Canada, not everyone, but in most provinces in Canada, there are very strict regulations that if you have to do an engineering study every so often, you have to go by its results. If you don't, the provincial government will step in and there will be trouble. Okay. So we have a lot more discipline in that here. But what can end up happening is, as you pointed out, if you've been kind of negligent about the ongoing maintenance, when and again, with these sort of shitty finishes, shitty workmanship buildings, I mean, the balcony just may start to disintegrate.
Well, that's funny. You read my mind because there's a great example of this. There's a pretty good building that has one flaw. What was that flaw? Its entire exterior structure is glass panels for its balconies.
Cladding, yeah.
And if you walk around the building at the bottom, you'll see caution falling glass signs.
Jesus.
So what's the issue with this building is the glass panels are falling like pretty uniformly across the building.
Oh my God.
It's not an east, west, south, north exposure thing. It's like, so I always tell my clients, ask me about that building because it's a very architecturally interesting building. They ask me, do you like that building? I'm like, hey, it's a great building, but this glass panels are collapsing, and that's going to be an issue if the condo board keeps kicking that can down the line.
I think that's a lawsuit too, right? It's a lawsuit against the builder?
There could be, exactly. Like you do also have situations where, like for instance, there's some buildings where the builder delivered the building to the condo board in some deficient manner. The condo now has to decide, okay, do we pay for it and then go after them, right, for damages, or do we go after them for damages from the get-go, right? It's not easy, but yeah.
By the way, this sounds, it's not our intention to tell everybody that living in a condo is a shitty way to live. Living in a high-rise condo is shit, because God knows it's popular. There's a lot of it. If you want to live a downtown lifestyle, it's about your only option in many ways. If you want to be right in the heart of things, it's what's available. So we're not saying it's all just a financial disaster, because that's not true. We know people I know personally have friends who've lived in a beautiful condo, and he sat on the board for a while. He was an ex-banker, and it's well operated. It's got a strong sense of community. It's in a great location. They're bigger units. I mean, it's literally the list of everything that can go right in a condo, and they love it there. They just love it. And if you want that lifestyle, it's terrific. If you get the right building, the right management, as you said, all those multiple issues are good. So this is not about beating up on the concept of a condominium. That's not what we're here for. This is about saying that some trends have gone offside.
Yeah.
Okay. And this thing about monthly maintenance fees increasing because of boards pushing off maintenance, or sort of an outcome of some of the crap because there are condos who just have crap workmanship.
Of course,
we'll just put it out there.
Yeah.
So that will come back to haunt you in an expensive way as the years go by. It's as simple as that.
There's a lot of buildings that are actually new and already have $1.10 per square foot in terms of maintenance, $1.20 per square foot.
So how bad was that building? I mean, like...
You always have to actually delve into the status, right? The way I like to say is the status of certificate is like the blood work of a condo, right? Like just like how your blood work has like your markers, you're high in this, you're deficient in this, right? The status will give you the most in-depth, insightful look of what's actually happening in the building. Why is it $1.20? Was there like a flood that Tyrion didn't cover, or are they in dispute with Tyrion? Now they have to increase maintenances, a special assessment. What is the case? But, you know, it always comes back to the same fundamentals, right? Occasionally mismanagement, occasionally, you know, poor workmanship, whatever it may be, right?
All right, look, this is gonna sound like me kissing up to Sam, but I'm just going to say this honestly. I work with a lot of realtors. Our company works with a ton of realtors. And what you just heard, I would suggest to you that 75% of, because real estate is big, like there's people who only do 2 units a year, okay? Mm-hmm. I know you do a shit ton more than that.
Yeah.
So, and you have a certain level, and you have an obvious level of expertise. Because I'm telling you, folks, there's 75% of real estate agents could not have even given you the description of the thought process behind a status certificate that you just heard in that short period of time. I know a lot of realtors who just say to the client, yeah, I looked at the status, it's okay. I mean, like, what the fuck? Okay. Yeah. Then we get the status. Eventually, the lender gets to look at the status, and the lender says, sweet Jesus, this is like the end of the world here, this status certificate. So, you know, again, it's not just a plug for Sam, but he's a good realtor, but it's also this world of condos is specialized, okay? If you're talking to a real estate agent who's just plugging houses in Burlington, don't believe they actually know. They might, but the chances of them being condo experts is fucking slim and none, okay? You need somebody who eats, drinks, and breathes condos, okay? To understand and is honest, okay? Because condos are a whole new, different world than single family.
There are, like, there's a lot of garbage, as I said, condos that I would... No, I was about to say I wouldn't take my worst enemy to, but they're so bad I would probably
take them. Yeah.
Joking aside, though, it's like the houses are different, right? Houses are more so neighborhood oriented.
Yeah.
Right. Condos are their own world. But you said something interesting about on the mortgage side, how the status impacts you guys, right?
Very much so.
There's a lot of buildings that are not on the do not lend list.
There are.
Now,
yes.
I feel like this coveted do not lend list I've been trying to track down, and I just it's hard to track down. But there's a lot of buildings I know offhand that they're like, there's a not pending lawsuit on the corporation. There's pending action on the corporation, right? So that's always impacts with financing side, which very.
So there is a do not lend list because there is such a unmanageable problem with the condo board between litigation, massive deficiencies, you got an engineering report that says you need to spend $15 million and nobody wants to even thought about spending it. The engineering report's already 2 years old. But that said, the list changes. As you pointed out, they're like living organisms. Condos are like living organisms. They can grow, they can change, they can, you can have a disaster in your financial situation, but you can recover it. It's possible to fix it, gradually fix it over time. So the list changes. But yeah, there's a couple of Etobicoke condos that are just off the charts. Okay, they're like north of Etobicoke. Holy Jesus! There's trouble.
We're talking about the same.
We're talking about the same building for sure. I mean, holy Jesus! There's always, and basically, what you have to tell that person is, who wants to, but it's such a deal. Like, it's an incredible deal. It's $168,000 for a 1-bedroom condo. I mean, that's an incredible deal. I said, well, then you better fucking have cash. Yeah. Okay, because that's the only way you're buying that place, and you're buying a problem. You are going to be hit with a special assessment. You're going to be, the promise is going to take over the condo board. All hell is going to break loose at some point. So yeah, there is that is a real thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so thinking about the history of all this, and I'm appreciating you're not a pre-con condo sales. Mm-hmm. we still have a shit ton of new inventory coming on stream.
Yep.
There's going to be, I was just at a dinner last night, there's a suggestion that we're going to see in the whole of Ontario, we're going to see another 60,000 units come on stream in the next 24 months. And a lot of those are going to be in the GTA. A lot of those are going to be in Toronto and the TREB system. So the TREB, Toronto Real Estate Board, it's the biggest board in Canada by far, and there's that's a lot of action. So that impacts on what happens in condo world, because there is just this endless necessity to have competitive units, competitively priced. I mean, the poor sons of bitches who bought most of these are in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're in big trouble. They
Some
overpaid.
people bought at, no exaggeration, at $2,000 a square foot.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, no.
So,
oh, no. Okay.
So I actually got a call a couple of months ago. I bought this for $1.2 million. How many square feet? 550.
Holy shit.
Right? Now,
I think that's that Yorkville building.
it is.
It
right?
is, yeah.
So,
The legend grows. Okay.
so I think the same people are calling both of us.
They're calling everybody.
Yeah.
They're calling everybody.
But yeah, I mean, listen, like if you bought something at $1,400 a square foot, it's not looking good.
So what is a small one bedroom going for today a foot? Is that like $950 resale $950?
Yeah, I would say like in a C plus B minus building, you're looking at $750 to $800.
So what? It's down, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
in a C plus B minus.
Yeah.
In like a B tier building, you're probably looking in the low 800s to high 800s. And there are still some things like in the A plus tier buildings still selling around $900 to even above $1,000 per square foot, right? I hope that's not too general of an answer, but
That's a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Now you've seen, because you're an established guy, you've been doing this for over 8 years now, well, a little more than 8 years. So when you've seen wild price swings in a building. Like you talked about a unit that you sold in 2021. Tell us about that again.
Yeah, it was actually in 2022.
Okay.
During
the height was like March for you, right?
Yeah,
March 2022 was the all-time high.
The condo. The peak of the condo market and the history of the Toronto condo market was March 2022.
Gotcha.
Right? The housing market generally, like the Toronto housing market, so freehold, detached, everything together, was actually in February, but for condos, it was March, right?
By the way, this is 100% correct.
Yeah.
Like this has been the same thing I've said for years now. That was the all-time high.
So in late February, early March of 2022, I sold, representing the seller, because this confuses a lot of people when I talk on my channel. Representing the seller, I sold a unit in North York for $730,000, right? Now, the thing about condos, I know you know this very well, but just for the audience, when the last two digits are the same exact digits, so it's like a 03 or 11, a 1603 and a 1903 are the same exact floor plan 95% of the time.
Sure, 100%, yeah.
So the layout is the same, where the kitchen is, where the bedroom is.
Yeah, because folks, when the builder builds, he doesn't use a whole separate layout for every floor.
Yeah.
He uses exactly the same layout for every single floor for the size of the unit.
Not to really get into the weeds, obviously some buildings like from floors 1 to 10 might have like 9-foot ceilings for the 03s, but from 10 to 20 they might have 20 foot, well not 20, but like, you know what I'm saying. But okay, so the point is I sold that unit in the peak of the market for $730. The same exact replica unit with the same last two digits, 3 floors lower, sold for around $580, $570, right?
Holy shit.
So that's a huge swing.
That's crazy.
Right? Which my first thought was, my client, the seller, is going to think I'm a genius, but it was, to be honest with you, it's kind of very luck-based to time the market perfectly in the peak of the market when we sold that unit. But I'm like, man, that guy who bought it for my client, he sees that one go for $570, $580, like,
yeah,
it's hard, right? Like,
it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, like, but it's just simply the truth. Because of the influx of new builds in the GTA, and because of this incredible error on the part of our federal government, where they let 3 million new people into Canada over the course of 2.5 years, and pushed rents through the roof and gave people, incorrect ideas about what a rental unit could be worth. We're now facing the opposite. Our immigration has effectively gone to zero in 2025. I mean, there might be, for the whole of 2025, there might be 20 or 30,000 new Canadians. Because when you see some information about, no, we got lots of people coming in as permanent residents. Well, folks, the way the system works is you come here first and then you become a permanent resident. So you were already here, okay? And so it gives people the wrong impression. But I tell you, absolutely factually, this year, 2025, will be one of the lowest immigration years in the history of this country, okay? And that's having an impact. It runs through rents. And at the same time, because of the frenzy of pre-construction that occurred in 2020, 2021, part of 2022, we're going to have all these thousands and thousands of new units coming on stream. So that's an issue, and it's going to continue to depress prices. Again, there are always superb buildings with wonderful layouts and great locations that people are going to seek out, okay? It's fair to say there's buildings that people are actually watch to see when a unit comes on sale.
Oh, yeah. I have like 7 of them in my like watch list, yeah.
Yeah, because they're just that good, and that particular area is just exactly sought after, and that's what the real estate's all about, folks. There's a lot of stuff that's not that great. It's just consumer oriented. Like you said, it's a commodity. Okay. But it's the same in low rise real estate. There's some streets that people are just watching forever to see if a house comes up because it's the perfect neighborhood, the perfect area, the perfect school district, the perfect everything. Same for condos. Okay. But there's not enough of those. Okay. And most of the stuff that's coming on stream now is pretty crappy. Okay.
It is. Yeah.
It's not that great because it was all designed around investors willing to pay whatever because they thought the price would go up forever. It's all around assignment sales. And you told anybody who asked you that the assignment was a bad idea, you shouldn't depend on assignment, right?
Yeah. So I had a lot of people coming to me when there was like the pre-con hype. And one thing I always told clients was, listen, like, first and foremost, I think with pre-con, there's, as an agent, your value proposition is greatly diminished. All you do to the client is say, hey, here's the project, do you want it or not? Right? Resale is different. But I did tell clients that I would only go for this if you're able to actually close on it. Because right now what's happening is the people in the most trouble and having the most sleepless nights are those people who bought it with the pure intention of flipping it on assignment, never anticipating having to close on it. Or they maybe even did, but the evaluation, the appraisal's coming in low. They have to put the difference into the basket, right? And those guys are the really more than resale investors are the ones that are.
Yeah, let's just be honest. If you're in total intention when you bought condos, or you bought several of them, who knows? If your pure intention was that it was going to be sold through assignment, that you were never actually going to occupy it, never actually close on it, it was just going to be some kind of financial proposition. Okay. Yeah. You were taking a tremendous risk, and it was purely speculation.
It was.
And so we can all advise against it. I advised against it. You advised against it. But here, this is something that everybody needs to understand, because we sometimes get a lot of comments in the comments section about, oh, you fucking realtors, you're so greedy, you don't give a fuck, you fuck a lot of people. Well, let's get really fucking clear on this with a mortgage broker or real estate agent. We are in the business of doing transactions. We can advise people in the best way we possibly can. I just finished literally yesterday explaining to someone that if he really wants to build this house, buy this piece of land and build this house in this location, that it would be a total financial disaster. That we've done an appraisal, we've analyzed his budgets, we've analyzed his building, we've analyzed the location, we've done everything that a rational person would do, and he will end up spending $3 million to end up with a $2.1 million property, okay? So that's nuts. I mean, you are engineering a $900,000 loss.
Yeah. That
if you had to sell, and you never know when you have to sell. You literally don't know. You may say, oh, we're going to live there for 20 years and everything will turn out fine. How the hell do you know? I mean, you might come home and catch your wife in bed with your brother-in-law. You don't know what's going on. I mean, who knows? Okay. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm being facetious, but at the end of the day, you could not push this intelligent person off this idea that no, it'll work out for me. So we are in the business of facilitating transactions. If we warn people, if we tell the truth, if we are honest, if we give full disclosure, and people still say, no, I want to do this, the same as you. No, I want to buy these pre-con condos.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I mean, like I've told you everything that can go wrong. And if we're also honest, we'll say not everybody did that.
No, not everyone did.
A lot of people bullshitted people.
No. And to be very transparent, and we had this conversation over lunch, like the reason I did more selling during the peak of the market as opposed to buying was not because of some like a higher order principle I had necessarily. It was more so luck. Like I got lucky because most of the clients that came my way when the market was going crazy and every month prices were going up and up and up were sellers, right? So through sheer luck, when the market was crazy, I was working with sellers. Now, not luck, but more so intentionally, I purely work with buyers or mainly work with buyers.
And let's finish off on this theme.
Yeah.
Let's finish off on telling the truth works. Because in an incredibly bad market to sell condos, you're having 2 great years, right?
Yeah. It's a very buyer-friendly market, of course, if it's the right fit for you and it's a good
But there's
financial
not that many buyers.
But that's the thing. Like I'm giving this speech to I swear, to 7 different buyers in the last month. Think of it as you're the only sexy girl at the prom and there's like 4 guys fighting for your attention.
40 guys, Jesus. It could be a big prom. You never know.
So right now with a lot of things we're showing buyers, the sellers are calling us. It's almost like a reverse bidding war. The sellers are calling us saying, hey, all right, the other guys, okay, they want to do this for you, we'll do this for you, right? If you know how to massage the situation, because there's 4 sellers for every, obviously these ratios are not exact, but for purpose of this discussion, you can think of it, there's like 4 sellers for every 1 buyer.
But let's also agree to 2 things. Number 1, you're attracting more buyers because you tell the truth relentlessly, endlessly, and you show off your expertise. Okay?
My content is more oriented towards buyers, I would say, because that's who searches for.
But it's also the truth. It's also the truth. You're not the real estate agent who says every house is good. You could fix it up. I mean, you tell the truth every single time.
I try my best.
You do. I watched a lot of the videos. God, speaking of that, just the other day, I believe I watched you put up a post about, hey, even if we think the price is fair, let's underbid it.
Oh yeah. That's. I'm surprised you watched that. Only like 50 people watched that, but
I watch your stuff. Okay. And by the way, thank you for doing it. Thank you for saying it.
Thank you.
If you understand a market intimately, and you say, okay, there's these 4 sellers, 8, 6, whatever many sellers for 1 buyer.
Yeah.
Even if you think the price is extremely
fair,
good, and you really love the property, shit bid it. Like go down 20%, go down 10%. You can also go back up.
Yeah, exactly. Like in today's market, your first offers should not be your strongest, or even I think 90% of your strongest, right? This doesn't mean you dick around and dilly-dally. It just means that we have the leverage to, try to massage the price down as much as possible. But another interesting thing I also said in that, and this is something that I'm getting a lot of pushback from agents, is I said the same thing about conditions. Like if you, as a buyer, do not need the financing condition, right? You're even a cash buyer, let's say, you're very confident in your financing. You don't need a financing. Still included. That's what I'm talking about. Like, let's still include that condition. So there's something to haggle over down the line because we can afford to do that. We're not, buyers are not cannibalizing each other over the attention of the seller. Right now, the sellers are cannibalizing each other over the attention of the buyer. So that's the conditions on the ground. And there's a lot of sellers in trouble. There's a lot of sellers in trouble.
Oh, Jesus. We got and there's going to be so many more when this pre-con thing settles out. So thank you. It's great insight. And I also want everybody to understand this. Like one of the reasons I did this today is not just because Sam's got so much knowledge and has so much expertise and also tells it like it is. I want you to realize that I am not the guy who just says the whole categories are right off. Let's burn it all down. We need shelter in Canada. It's a cold fucking country. Okay. We need shelter. We've got a bunch of people here. We're going to have less people by the end of the year for the first time in history, but still. And commerce does go, like we said it a bunch of times. I say it endlessly. Marriages break down, people pass away, jobs change, circumstances change. You have to sell. And the same is true on the other side. Downsize, job change. You got to buy new baby. You got to buy at a certain point. These transactions will happen. So let's just do the transactions with the best possible product if we can. Dog crater, no. And there will be more trouble in the marketplace. So thanks to Sam for telling everybody, hey, underbid this. Someday it'll be lower.
And also to add, like, I'm very on record saying condos, in my professional opinion, are a awful investment vehicle right now.
Horrible. Yeah.
People have called me saying I'm looking for an investment condo. I said, like, are you sure? Right. So that's another thing, is that like the investor class is different than the end user class. Right. So it's a matter of just your intention with the product.
And you are 100% right. In the TREB system today, there should be no investors. I mean, the prices still don't make sense. The math doesn't work. It's a difficult landlord and tenant environment in Ontario, and there's so many reasons not to do it than to do it. That wins. Not doing it wins. Thank you, Sam. It's been a great show. You bring so much to the table. Sam Saberi, 6 Real Estate. Okay. Yeah. And look it up on the TikTok, look it up on Instagram, YouTube. It's interesting. Like, it's interesting to watch a guy tear a building apart. Okay. It's his opinion. It's just his opinion. Okay. His personal opinion. But you don't get that much in real estate. So Sam, thank you. It was great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.